10 minutes with Chetwayo aboard, and he's on with us via Zoom, so we're going to bring him in immediately. Nice man. Seth, what going on?
Good morning, Synergy TV, Stefan Muse, and all of our viewers. I am fine. But I know what I want to discuss this morning is not an easy topic to discuss.
Yeah. But somebody had to do it.
Yeah, somebody had to do it. And, you know, it's very unfortunate what happened with Jasher François.
Yeah.
Being so young and to lose his life at that age, all right? So my condolences go out to the family and friends, because we also have to remember that when someone dies, especially someone that young, it affects the people around them even more, right? Not just the family, but remember, this is a child in school.
Correct.
Right? So you're going to have, you know, all their friends and even the teachers and stuff. This is a very devastating thing when we have a life that young lost.
Yeah.
All right? But I want to get into it because I saw 2 autopsy reports. One I saw that was first talking about with it being a respiratory, his cause of death being respiratory failure, and that was linking it to viral pneumonia. All right? But I want to share my screen a bit here so that we could see some things. Let me just share my screen here, and let's understand some things that took place. All right, let me know if you're seeing the screen here.
Yeah, see that, but it's black. It's black right now. Right, nice.
All right, so his final hour. Let's take these things into consideration. When he came into the hospital, remember, he came in for this dry cough, right? And of course, we found out that it was a lung infection. But his oxygen level was at 95,
yeah,
right?
95%, yeah, that's what he had.
Right,
yeah.
which is stable enough to have you on a nebulizer. It's not perfect, but stable enough to have you on a nebulizer. And then the IV was administered, which was magnesium sulfate, and vomiting and pain in his hand. That was his reaction.
Right.
So, of course, we saw where the father, you know, alerted the nurse, and it was paused. And then, according to the father's statements, right, in the video that I saw, that the nurse went and checked a doctor and came back and they said, well,
correct,
children normally would react this way. So it was resumed. And within 20 minutes, collapse, and then under an hour, death was pronounced.
Yeah.
All right. Now, one, we have to understand something. When it comes to a lung infection, having an oxygen level at 95, for that to cause the death of a child, that can take days to happen. It's not something that happens
immediately.
Within an hour.
Yeah.
Cannot happen within an hour. Stefan, oxygen level 95, death within an hour, not possible.
Right.
Especially in a child. Not possible. All right? Now, let me share something else here now. Let me show something else here. So let's compare the autopsy reports from the first one that I read. It says cause aspiration pneumonitis. It was linked to viral pneumonia.
Yeah.
Infection was blamed. Right? The timeline was not stressed, because if you stress the timeline, you know that that cannot be viral pneumonia. That would have to be some kind of new super pneumonia that would have come into existence.
Right.
Right? The independent autopsy by Professor Hubert Daisley, that shows heart failure, so cardiovascular event, during IV magnesium sulfate administration. Right? Such as defining brain swelling, kidney injury, cyanosis, enlarged heart. All of which goes in line and in tune with that of the IV, which would have been due to an overdose.
Right.
Now, the contradictions between the 2 reports, right? And I think we have to take that into consideration. How is there a contradiction between the 2 reports?
Well, I'm wondering the same. Go ahead.
So I would say this now, and then going to show I'll mention some other things. That is, to me, an attempted cover-up.
Right. The first one saying the infection was to be blamed, and the other is saying that the medication.
Correct. right? So if they didn't do the independent autopsy, what would have happened?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I know for a fact that this is a case of malpractice. Right? How I can say that? Well, let me share some more information with you with regards to magnesium sulfate.
Right.
So first, magnesium sulfate is a drug used, right, in cases of severe asthma,
Okay.
seizures, and eclampsia. Severe cases of those things, right?
Right.
That's what it is used for, all right? When it comes to being administered, especially to children, the dose must be exact and precisely calculated in accordance to the child's weight, right?
Okay.
The infusion must never be rushed, all right? Must never be rushed. And the child has to be monitored continuously to ensure that there is no adverse effect.
Right.
But something else a lot of people miss, calcium gluconate, which is the antidote, must be there on standby, just in case.
Ah, well, right.
Right?
So
Calcium gluconate, right?
right.
Now,
But yeah, go ahead.
if any one of those steps were missed, malpractice.
Yeah.
If any one of those steps were missed, it is a clear case of malpractice. This is the overdose risk. Breathing muscles stop, right? So it will cause respiratory paralysis, right? You get a severe drop in blood pressure.
Right.
The heart slows or stops, so cardiac arrest.
But which is in line with the second autopsy, the independent autopsy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Collapse within minutes. Death if untreated immediately. And that is exactly what happened because he died within 20 minutes.
My thing
That is exactly what happened.
Well, I'm now finding out, because we haven't heard, you're the first person that has actually brought to the discussion the antidote, which is the calcium gluconate.
Correct.
I haven't heard that conversation in anything. I haven't seen that term used in any of the media reports that you know, in administering magnesium sulfate, in the event of an adverse effect, calcium gluconate is used to restore, you know.
That has to be on standby. That has to be on standby, right? Just in case. Remember, this is a child has a small body.
Right.
I know I heard somebody call in and said that, you know, different people might have different reactions. No, an overdose of this drug in anybody would cause the same effect.
Right.
Right?
Because it has to be calculated by your weight.
It has to be calculated by weight, especially in children. It don't have a general dose for children. It has to be precisely calculated because the margin for error is razor blade thin when it comes to children. Right? It has to be precisely calculated. Remember I called you Friday morning. Right?
Yeah.
And I told you, I said, Stefan, this drug is what killed the child. Right?
Yeah, you told me that off the bat, yeah.
Yeah, off the bat. Because at the moment I saw it, right? For a child children usually get lung infections. But that also brings up another point. We have to focus our attention more on prevention of illness than medical intervention, right? We need to reduce these medical emergencies, prevent children from going into the ER, to avoid situations like this from happening. Because where truth might be suppressed, you know what that means? If truth is suppressed, there is no justice.
Yeah.
Once truth is suppressed, there is no justice to take place. Right? So, and that is what these two autopsy reports are showing me. Right? It's an attempt to suppress truth. A good thing for the independent one.
Yeah.
Right? But like I said, we need to focus on prevention. We need to ask, well, why did the child get sick in the first place? You have to ask that question. And how can that be prevented? Right? So we heard stories, people calling in and talking about their experiences with this medication and that medication. We need to get off the mindset that we even need medication. We need to focus on other means in which to keep the body from getting sick. Instead of looking for interventions, people See if you could find any pharmaceutical drug with no side effects. You could never find that.
You wouldn't find that, yeah.
Right?
They all have side effects, yeah.
They all have side effects. Is we have to get out of the mentality of relying on medical interventions, right? Drug interventions to help our issues. How it is I don't get sick, right? Because my focus is always on nutritional therapy. Nutrition first, right? Nutrition is it all the time. Yeah. I could break down scientifically what caused the lung infection, you know. I could break that down and show you, right, how the body would have been inflamed, causing reactions in the pneumonocytes within the lungs because of the body being in a more acidic state, and that has to do with what has been consumed. Remember, it's holidays. It is holiday time. You know how much sugar children are consuming?
Yeah, when they're on holidays,
you know how much.
Yeah. I remember when I was on holidays. Yeah, plenty.
Exactly. You know how much parents do not know what they're supposed to be feeding children.
Yeah.
We think feeding children all these highly ultra processed foods and snacks. We think these things are great, well and normal and okay for a child. They have a smaller body than us.
Yeah.
Things that are harmful to adults are 10 times worse for children.
For children, yeah.
Right? Yeah. We need to focus on that. Right? Now, you mentioned it just now there. We have such blind trust and allegiance to people in so-called authority that we would even ignore paternal and maternal protective instincts.
Yeah.
We would ignore that to trust a doctor or nurse because they're in certain positions. Right? If I go into detail, and that's what I have mentioned earlier, that I have a book, that's what I have in my book showing these things, right? We ignoring these things, and then we complain over the consequences.
Remember, I mean, you see, Seth, that's why we have a couple of minutes here, but before we go to wrap, but remember, we met during the pandemic, not so?
Correct.
Right, and we both were like, what is going on? Like, you know, what is going on, people? Because people just complying blindly with, you know, like people not doing the research, not taking into consideration the side effect. It reached the point where when people who were perfectly well, they went and they take the shot, and then 2 days later they get a stroke or they get, and people were trying to say, well, they don't know if it's the vaccine, and I like. But if I was perfectly good, the only thing I went to do in the last 48 hours before I get a stroke is I take this thing. And how could that just be totally ignored and wiped from the books?
And that's the power of fear, Stefan.
You understand?
The power of fear. Fear is your greatest or one of your greatest motivators. But if you fear the wrong thing, you're going to be motivated in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Now, I'm mentioning this. Next time I'm on, I am going to be addressing the topic of CDAP and the effects that have had on the general population.
Right.
Right? And we have gotten into this habit of depending on medication, not understanding we're supposed to be fearing the medication more. Right? The use of medication have even removed our fear of diseases. So, I have a good friend of mine, PhD doctor, right? And I remember talking to him, close friend. And he mentioned and he said, he's real afraid of diabetes. Right? And I agree with him. Some diabetes is something to fear because it is a death sentence. But because of easy access to drugs, people don't have the fear of diabetes again.
Right.
One of the deadliest diseases in the world, people don't have a fear of. Right?
Yeah.
One of the deadliest diseases in the world, you're diabetic, that is a sure death sentence.
Right.
Sure death sentence. I have no second guessing that. Sure death sentence. But people don't fear it anymore. And if they watch the statistics, deaths have gone up in this country. But next week I'm going to come with all of that data and show you.
Diabetes,
right?
Diabetes number one.
And I would show. Yeah. Right? And I'll show the impact of having that mindset. Look, we lost a 6-year-old. Are we going to continue along that mentality? Are we going to continue with that?
But I mean, in closing, I think this case I think this case is ripe for for an investigation and whatever has to take place to lead to some serious consequences to what took place in this incident. Because I think the whole country should be paying attention to this issue with this 6-year-old, because I've fed up here people complain about the healthcare system and things like that. And we heard some of the callers with their experiences as well. One caller said that the same thing happened to his son. And he had nothing, couldn't do anything. He had our money to go to get a lawyer, all kind of thing.
Are they going to utilize nutritional therapy? As long as people's mindset are not on nutritional therapy, this is not the first, it's definitely not going to be the last. It is going to continue, because we still don't want, when people come to me, I've had people come to me, Stefan, I just show people the truth, backed by the highest degree of information and science. And some people, they see it, they understand it, but I don't want to change my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Then death is at your doorsteps. That is all. You're going to depend. I have had people left from by me and say, you know what? I ain't going to do your program. I go in and trust the healthcare system, and I go in and go the line of medication. You know what I heard about them after they died? They died because they trust a system that is not designed to fix your problems. Medication is symptom suppression.
Right.
That is only going to give you temporary relief. That is not going to fix your problem. There is only one way to fix your problem. You have to address root cause. And then people would come to me and say, well, the root cause is this and that and the other. I said, that is not a root cause. That is a symptom. A lot of people
there's a difference between a symptom and a root cause. Yeah, I can understand that. People could mistake very easily symptom for root cause, but they don't understand it because they're not going that deep. But we all the time,
Exactly. Right?
But next week, you know the CDAP issue?
I'll be addressing CDAP.
All right, no problem, man. It is Chetwayo's Holistic Health Clinic, people, as you can see there, and it's powered by nutritional therapy. That's right, nutritional therapy. And, of course, at Chetwayo's Clinic, they work on reversing diseases rather than managing them. And they specialize in reversing digestive disorders, hypertension, diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular diseases, and more. It is drug-free, supplement-free root cause healing through nutritional therapy. And you can call Seth or WhatsApp him on 279-3935 or 761-1952. Those are the numbers. Book your appointment today and rebuild your health from the inside out naturally. Seth, next week, man.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem.